Oh boy. Hello everyone. I guess hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with a video on whether or not the Duel Arena should be deleted. This video is heavily inspired by a tweet by Ian recently that he basically said the Duel Arena should be deleted. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people in the comments, debating it. Seemed like a pretty debatable thing, and that's why I decided to make a video on it, because I personally don't think it should be, and the sentiments that I was seeing was mostly that a lot of people were for it, and I was pretty shocked. But like with most things in RuneScape, I feel like whenever people want something added or deleted, the voices for that are probably going to be, more heard than the people that want something to stay the same, because I don't know, that's not as cool to argue, or that's not as interesting, I guess. But that is where I stand on this topic. I do have immense respect for Ian. He's a pillar for the RuneScape community. By no means is this video to shit on him or his opinion. I'm just stating my opinion and that it disagrees. So I felt it was important enough to make a video on, and that's what we're going to do. So it's mostly going to be a short podcast type video where I just talk to you guys. I'm also going to go mess around and stake 1 mil at a time for some background footage, but it'll be a bit different than some of the videos I've done recently. But for the most part, my channel's been focused on guides and progression, and honestly, while I do enjoy those things, I used to make a wide variety of videos, and I would like to kind of break out of that shell. So that's what we're going to do today, kind of talk about something that I think is relevant. And so, yeah, we'll go through why I don't think the Duel Arena should be deleted. I'll also kind of offer up some counterpoints, and obviously there's fair points on both sides. I'm not saying this is a black and white issue. I try to approach it from both sides, and honestly, I don't really ever go to the Duel Arena anymore. I used to frequent here a lot. Within the last, I don't know, ever since I've created this YouTube channel, I have less incentive to stake. But with that said, I'll go ahead and get into the reasons why I think the Duel Arena should be kept. Won the first stake. I was not able to get any points across because I was kind of nervous. I don't know, it's been a while since I've been here, so we'll keep doing it, and I'll talk a decent bit while I'm sitting here waiting for stakes and whatnot too. But the first point that I think the Duel Arena is useful for is what it's been made kind of useful for recently, and that is that it is a GP sync. There is a tax on all the stakes now, ranging between 0.25 and 1% depending on how much you stake. So that may not seem like a lot, but it is definitely money that is being taken out of the game at a large rate with how much people stake and how often people stake here at the Duel Arena. So it does offer that it can be useful for the game in some sense. Honestly, even between 0.25 and 1% might even be a little low. I feel like you could up it between 1 to 3%, and that would be pretty justifiable. It would deter people from sitting here and staking all day, and it would, obviously take more money out of the game at a much larger rate. I think these are pretty even odds right now, and it doesn't necessarily have to be even, so you could even make it better in that sense. A counter argument to the Duel Arena tax is that you could add a GE tax, and I understand taxing the Grand Exchange as well. I don't know why those two things can't exist at the same time, unless you think that the Duel Arena is extremely harmful, which I'll later talk about. I don't think that's the case. And with the way that the game is trending, deaths aren't as punishable, and I guess they will be in the future, but they're still not even really that punishable. And so you're going to need more and more coin sinks or item sinks in the game, and a little Duel Arena tax isn't that bad in my opinion, and I think it helps out. The second point is, I guess, it's kind of a cop-out point, but it is definitely an easy one to make, and that is that this is old school RuneScape. Like with most things in old school RuneScape, I would like it to kind of stay the same as the old game, unless there is something inherently drastic that's happened at the Duel Arena that would cause it to need to be taken out of the game. And whenever you come around here, I don't think that's the case. The one thing you could argue is there's definitely a lot of scammer bots around, but there's scammer bots all around the Grand Exchange, and I don't want the Grand Exchange taken out of the game. Obviously the GE has a lot more use, but at the end of the day, the scammers and the bots will just go somewhere else and do something else. They're not just going to not exist. People are still going to try to make sketchy money if they can. And honestly, the way the Duel Arena is set up right now with your stakes and all of that, it is really hard to get scammed if you know what you're doing here. If you've done more than 5 to 10 stakes, there's almost no chance you should get scammed. If you're coming here and throwing out a lot of money in your first few stakes, that's probably an indicator that you don't care about that money, and yes, you're going to be more likely to get scammed, but there's so many options and so much stuff going on in these Duel Arena settings that you have to know that that's a possibility. My gosh. And if you're easily going to get scammed here for a lot of money, I also think there's a high percentage chance that you get scammed somewhere else. The third point with the Duel Arena is, I think oftentimes and almost all the time, people that go to the Duel Arena know what they're doing. I'll hear a lot of people that are like, man, I know so many friends that have gone to the Duel Arena and lost their bank, and that's why they quit. But personally, I think the reason that people go to the Duel Arena and lose their bank is typically because they want to quit or can't grind to where they want to get to anyways, so they take that chance. And yeah, that sucks. I do understand that people quit at a higher rate after they lose their bank at the Duel Arena, but at the end of the day, I don't think that those aren't people that probably weren't going to quit anyways. And also, once they have basically no bank when they come back to the game, if they do want to come back, they're going to be more inclined probably to play longer to build their cash back to where they were. So basically, I think that people that came to the Duel Arena often understand the risk that they're taking when they come here. They either can't grind to the point that they want to be at, or they just, are kind of bored of the game. And I think that this is probably the best way to lose your money in RuneScape if you had to choose. I mean, the other alternatives are typically lures and scams and things that are going to deter you a lot from ever coming back to the game than you simply going to the Duel Arena and checking your own cash. That's your own decision. The other ones, they may be your own decisions to involve yourself with those people, but you're also getting scammed by people, which will definitely deter you a lot more than losing money out of your own free will. And just by removing that own free will aspect of it, I don't think that's an improvement. And also, anyone that comes here without the assumption that they can lose money definitely needs to learn that gambling is definitely gambling, and so they're going to have to learn at some point in their life that you just can't assume that you're due or that you deserve to win for some reason. Some people have that mindset and you can't. So I don't think losing some money in RuneScape is the worst way to find that out. I actually think it's a decent way to find that out, which brings me to my fourth point, is that the Duel Arena, in my opinion, is like a ball pit for children, but of gambling. It is the lowest form of gambling. You go in there, you're probably not going to hurt yourself, maybe get some scrapes, but at the end of the day, it's a child's form of gambling. I mean, my God, you're sitting here with virtual currency, just pixels. It's not that big of a deal. Now, obviously, there's real-world trading, and I'll address that in a second, but really, there isn't a ton of real-world implications behind you losing this gold unless you are buying the gold. I feel like it's probably one of the best teaching methods as far as, how to deal with, gambling addiction or just gambling in general, if you aren't someone that's been too keen on doing that type of stuff. So as I said, I think the Duel Arena is like the ball pit of gambling. I really don't think it's that harmful. The only way it could be harmful is if you're someone that buys gold online, or you buy bonds online, and then you, I guess, are trying to sell the gold online or whatever. Once you start involving real world money into it, obviously that's a bit problematic. Now, I don't think there's necessarily any way you can stop that. If people really want to gamble and want to buy gold or want to buy bonds to gamble, they're going to do it. And whether or not that be at the Duel Arena, at the Wild, on third-party sites, that's the real point I'm getting at here. I think that people that are willing to go onto other websites or go through Jagex bonds to get their money to then gamble, they're people that are so deep into gambling, it almost doesn't matter what methods you allow them. By eliminating the Duel Arena, I think you're almost promoting other methods of gambling that are even worse than the Duel Arena. Like the Duel Arena percent hold is a lot lower than almost anything you're going to see in outside gambling. So in theory, you're losing less money, which is it's a good thing. Obviously, it's not a great thing that people are gambling and maybe doing it at a high rate for some people, but you're not losing that much money. If you are, you're losing virtual currency. And if you're trying to buy and sell gold to try to make money through the Duel Arena, it will be a short amount of time until you realize that that's not a profitable strategy and you're going to have to do something else. And if you don't realize any of those things and you still are just gambling and buying gold, you're a gambling addict. You're going to find your fix, whether or not it's through the Duel Arena, it's through the Wildy, it's through Grand Exchange bots, it's through, trying to get rich quick with a scammer you find at the GE that tells you to bring all your bank. Outside RuneScape gambling websites that have existed forever that are honestly sometimes promoted on YouTube for some reason. And people could just go out in the Wildy and risk fight and absolutely get shit on by people that know what they're doing, since there's no form of elo. In old school RuneScape, you can't get even fights, so, I guess your average person that's going to want to try to 50-50 their money, in theory, would go risk fight. Like, there's just so many different other methods that people can still go with their IRL money or in-game money that are definitely a lot more sketchy, and not as good of a return on what you're actually staking. Like, you're going to lose more money with those methods. So sure, the Duel Arena may not be great in the sense that people are still here losing money and maybe forming some sort of gambling addiction, but it's the least punishing out of all of them, in my opinion. And if you're going to find out you have a gambling addiction or a competitive addiction, as Michael Jordan would say,
gambling problem at all?
No, because I can stop gambling. I have a competition problem.
You know, it's best you find that out early. It's best you find out how to control that in a RuneScape environment. I think this is probably the safest and easiest way to go about it. Not everyone's going to be a winner. It's going to be tough. I mean, that's basically how I feel. Those are most of the points that I make. I'll go ahead and go through a couple points that I do see on the other side that make sense, and I've moderately addressed them, but I think a lot of people are just a bit concerned that, you know, because they've had friends quit at the Duel Arena, and so they're trying to, you know, hold player retention high. And I get wanting to hold player retention, but like I said earlier, I think that people that go to the Duel Arena know what they're getting into. They probably weren't going to keep playing the game at the same rate that they were anyways, and sometimes getting cleaned and understanding that that's not the way to go about it, and that you have to now work all these hours back might actually be a good thing for the person. It may not be in the short term of losing your money, but in the long term, honestly, it might be decent for the person to have learned a lesson and to get back on their grind. And then the other thing that I moderately understand is that, you know, some people say you could stop people from developing gambling addictions. I guess, I mean, you know, it depends how you want to look at it and depends what your viewpoint on a gambling addiction is. But personally, there are just so many forms of gambling and tons of other games that aren't just RuneScape. There's packs and, you know, tons of different Ultimate Team games. There's third-party sites for RuneScape. There's Wilderness. I mean, like I said, there are tons of other ways to get your gambling fix. I think that people that want to do it are going to find that way to do it. And sure, by eliminating one route, that might help. But like I said earlier, I think this is one of the least punishing and probably best place to learn that you have a gambling addiction. I think that if you were going to go head to head with that addiction or try to fight that addiction, I mean, the Duel Arena is the least punishing and safest way to do it. So I don't know. I mean, obviously the Duel Arena isn't the greatest thing. Maybe if the Duel Arena wasn't in the game originally, like, would I vote to have a place that people could go and gamble their money? Like, I don't know, but it's something that's already in the game. It's something that people have been accustomed to for this long. And honestly, if the Duel Arena was that big of an issue, something should have been done about it much sooner than now. At this point, most people that are playing old school RuneScape are old enough to, you know, guide themselves and understand how to stake. I don't really think you're stopping too much. I think you're just eliminating the safest route of gambling in RuneScape. And yeah, overall, I don't think that the pros of getting rid of it are worth the cons of also getting rid of it. I think this is where people learn lessons. Some people make money, and some people, you know, refocus and get back on the grind. But yeah, that's going to be it as far as my opinions. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to tell me, make sure to leave them down below in the comments, as I'm sure you will. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to hit that subscribe. With that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and goodbye. And also, as far as the loan stakers that get loaned bills upon bills upon bills to sit there in debt and maybe one day get out of it, that's Jayex's fault for not banning them. They've done plenty of things to try to deter staking on stream and for people, but yet they let people take on bills upon bills of debt and just do it for fun. So that's their fault. That's not the Duel Arena. That is solely Jayex's. So blame them.